going now to report. Line here, take time in the presentation. So moderators, please come here to be ready. We will ask to try to stick to 3 minutes, not more. And we should have Paola here somewhere to show a 1 minute reminder when needed. Oh, okay, you want them to sit here? Okay, so you can sit. I said you line, but we are nice with you, you can sit here. Because the last one would have to stand. Hold on. You can sit and get ready to come. Yes? Yeah, for moderators. Thank you to all moderators to get ready. Yeah, I will sit here. So 3 minutes per session. It will be dense, but then you will have the coffee and the ODOC will be over. So the first one, I think, is me. If you can put the slides. Where is the mic? So first is the opening. Everyone is ready, I think. Can we run the slides? Okay. Excuse me. You have put me a little bit under pressure, Paola. Thank you to have stayed here, even if it's a little bit because we didn't let you escape at the coffee break, but there is coffee after. Is that okay? I have the green button. Okay. So opening, I will not read everything. The challenges we had at the start of the ODOC is to engage with the community and to onboard the audience around the open knowledge dynamic, to turn each of you into an active actor and ambassadors. And what we have done is we have tried to be very transparent on the why we do that, what we are doing and how we do that to build the trust so you can join this dynamic. The goal, so out of the presentations, we got the challenge that we have to increase the collaboration and capacity between the UN ecosystem about knowledge and geo. And we had some hints about where we can collaborate and the next events and maybe where UN is compared to that, and we can try to onboard. Then we had from the presentation of Yuki that we got a global understanding on where we are with the trends of the ecosystem and the complexity of our ecosystem regarding the data, the technologies, the triple crisis we want to address, how we are to transform the data, all this complex ecosystem of value chain addition that we have to clarify to identify the actors. And it's, the action is to try to keep on sharing this understanding and its evolution and advocate the core values and principles of GEO, increase the open source tools and package, and we have some hints here of actions that we can try to develop and follow up. From the talk from Mengestab, I will summarize that we have to be inclusive without borders. So of course he talked about Africa, but my understanding is that we have to support the engagement with communities, national, regional, global level, also the public and private, the academias, all the thematics, the youth, and why not the old when we talk together. And all genders integration. We have seen that the women can have specific needs in some countries. We should not underestimate the role of political support, and Barbara Ryan told us that we have to be patient and perseverant. The success can come after a long time if we really are perseverant. And then Gilberto went beyond the data sharing, saying that we have to share also software, to share knowledge, and we have to find how to do it in the best way, sharing use cases and reproducible example. Reproducibility is at the core, and reusability is at the core of the knowledge sharing. And on these two topics, I would say that we have to communicate some success stories. Obviously, Landsat is a success story. They have just issued a report on the value Landsat has created since the data is open. I think it's the type of success story we have to build also on the knowledge sharing, and to make a lot of our outreach, be vocal about that, because we have to build the success and grow up around that. Then Bente said that all your presentations and so on will push our working group, the data and knowledge working group, to work on a revisit of the principles, the data sharing and the data management principles. So we have a lot to do. Also here, being inclusive with other families of principles, like the FAIR, the trust, and the care. And here too, believe we are perseverant, and there is a lot of work to be done, but we are motivated. And then I reminded regularly that we have to remind regularly the value of open data and open knowledge. It's something which is not granted, it can be at risk. Some years ago, Copernicus was wondering if they would keep. You know, we could see a deadline in the slides of Jean on Copernicus. I'm sure, I'm hope it will be, it will go beyond, but there is a deadline in the slides. So I hope that coming here, you got a little bit the virus to become our ambassadors. You understood where we were going, and this transparency has worked to onboard us, with us. So next, I was. So advancement of open knowledge. So we had a presentation about what is the Knowledge Hub, the Geo Knowledge Hub. And the challenge here is to be able to produce and deliver knowledge in a shape with packages that can really be reused and reproduced to create new products. And of course, another challenge is that the knowledge, the geo-knowledge, is hidden everywhere. You just had a small visible part of the iceberg of the knowledge that the community has, and the idea is to go and identify this knowledge and shape a package that could be reusable. And here, the Knowledge Hub, the action is to support the knowledge preservation, to keep it open for use and for share and for reuse. And to develop capacity building, to create the packages, and also to reuse the packages that it was done with GeoGlam and with FL, as we will see later. Then Kalamka's challenge was engaging with the work program activities to enrich the content. I hope that if you are in a work package activity or not, you will desire now to share part of your knowledge. You are welcome. And building together with the Geo community. So, but then the action she will have is to create, and we will have, is to create the content of the Knowledge Hub, and to see which are the needed new features that are ready to be launched, and announce it and make the outreach. Then here, I think I was a little bit confused. I was so happy to see you see the Knowledge Hub is usable, that it's not a challenge. I summarized the Mayo presentation saying, see, look how the package can look like. It is usable, and look at it. You have some packages. I mentioned one, but go to the Knowledge Hub. There are many of them. And here, too, our role is to make some outreach about the good, interesting packages that are available, to build capacity building for the users, to get user feedback, to listen to them, really try to improve the tool and the content, communicate about the feedback on the content to the providers to create this virtuous loop. Then Orestes did a very difficult thing. He addressed the challenge of documenting how to provide a package and how to design a package, and he gave its feedback. And we have now a manual and testimony, so the action will be to make some outreach. Tonchin said that also they provide some knowledge hub at FAO, and we have to look for synergies, like with the UN. We have to learn from how they have done this knowledge hub. Taylor's presentation, I know, was very appreciated because licenses is a challenge for everyone, and I think you understand that licenses are needed to be reusable, and so the recommendation here is to facilitate, make outreach, listen to what the needs from the geo community to facilitate the access to the information the community needs. And then Andrew said that the challenge, there is a challenge for the communication between the website and the Knowledge Hub, and I'm sure that clarifying the vision of GEO will help understand the integration of the different resources to make them understandable and usable. The sharing of knowledge is key, so there is no problem. And GIDTT, we know we have a lot of work to do. Okay, so Paola tells me that I have to finish. And then again, we just have to engage with the users and the community. Next one, I think, was Stephen. Please.
First of all, thank you for staying the course. It's nice to actually see some. Do you know what would be amazing? If everybody came down to the front, the room would be really full. I love the hands going up. No. Okay, space-based data session. I don't really want to. I guess I'll just talk through the actions because we haven't got much time. So we're sort of saying here we want to push more around open standards and the Open Data Cube. We want to build on, and I think I should just say, because the Open Data Cube has been implemented in a number of countries, and I think there's about 45 countries who've actually done a review, so that fits well with GEO's model of working with countries. There's already on analysis-ready data, there's product feature specifications, there's work going on with the OGC on a standard. There's also a self-assessment process, so we'd engage the GEO community to work with CEOS as a PO in this area. There are a number of new maybe not new technologies, because some of these things have been around, but there's maybe emerging areas to look at, and this is just some of the examples that came through in the presentations. We also want to look at enhancing these capabilities for calibration and validation. And there was, I want to mention again, there was QA for EO that was mentioned, and that was done by GEO and by CEOS back in the day. We want to strengthen the collaboration and capacity building. I'd still like to qualify that a bit more. What does that mean? That's a bit vague. So I think we maybe need to polish that a little bit. And then continuous support for open data policy. And as Marie-Claire just said, it's about fair, but it's also about care and trust. So back to you.
In situ?
Thank you. For those who were there when I kickstart this session, I state that In Situ was the terrible kid of the GEO family. And in fact, thanks to the panelists that were great, I learned that we've grown up. So now we are teenagers, so to say. And as teenagers, sometimes we are a bit crazy. That's the motto as well of the session. And regarding In Situ, there's plenty of things that's been done. Still it is, let's say, looking for the proper path. So challenge, address In Situ, making them accessible, interoperable, actionable. This has been discussed. Poor metadata, lack of standard as well. We need to grow up again and still. Regarding the network, lack of common standard and timeliness access to the data, and with limited and mostly northern hemisphere regarding the geographic location. So this is something to address as well, or to do better for the southern hemisphere. So action. So regarding coordination of institute network, there was a remark from the room saying that we have maybe touched upon research data. So I know there's plenty of very good and very organized networks, Actris, EUModNet. So these are maybe the party to bring into to basically be inspired from. Of course, mentioned several times, data sharing principle, data management principle. We have tools mentioned, two of the presenters, G-Rex and Libidity2, say that yes, we can do better, and is already on the shelf and on the Geo Knowledge Hub. Of course, identifying gaps, outreach activity, mentioned, communication, and measure to progress. We need maybe to be a bit more formal on how basically we measure our own progress. So for the Geo infrastructure, governance might be, sometime it has been in the discussion, some, let's say, not blocking, but things to take into account when we want to prioritize our activity. Interesting thing is to endorse and communicate the institute strategy. So Joanne has done a very good presentation regarding this. We need as well to assess the potential role of the Geo Institute, so who we are, contributor, facilitator, manager, host of infrastructure, communicator. So sometimes we have many hats, and this need to be potentially assessed. I'm done? No, 1 minute. So best practice and guidelines should be as well, data harmonization, funding, and there, of course, we talk a lot about this, and I thank Mark for having bring me to the idea that, yes, for Institute, we could as well analyze the cost of not action and not acting. I think it would be a good metrics to put for Institute. And I end up with this. And I pass the mic to...
I want it here. Yep. Well, yeah, I do, no, but I do remember some of it, actually. So one of the challenges that is, thank you, Stephen, that the UAV might help us with is to cover areas that are remotely accessible. It can also be more mapping parameters that we are not currently able to do, so populations, resources, activities, so provide much more detail. Also, when it comes to smart agriculture, it's a powerful tool. The challenges, well, some of the things actions that needs to be taken in this is to, for instance, there are drones or UAVs, they are subject to regulations very often. So when we are talking about interoperability, which is necessary, we have to address actually the whole, how should I say, value chain of interoperability, from policies down to the nitty-gritty formats, and make it interoperable on technical detail level. So, and what else? Yes, and of course, training, and this, I think we will see that capacity development again in this workshop as the last year, capacity building, capacity building, capacity building. It was highlighted for that the youth needed training, but as Marie-Françoise said on stage, also the not so young anymore needs training. So I think this is like a red thread throughout everything, all of the activities. And let me see if I forget something. Interoperability, yes, and here we comes to follow up. So we need to acknowledge the UAV as part of one of the satellite. One of the sources of information, data and information in Earth observation, so in GEO, and having that included in And I think one of the natural consequences is that we actually include it in the data and knowledge working group, and I told Rabi that this is one way. Rabi, we were having a bilateral, but that goes for all the speakers, that they are welcome to join us, and that's one of the actions that we need to do, to follow up. So very exciting. I'm still super excited because this is like a super gadget for a gadget geek. So yeah, very inspiring. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much. There are a lot of challenges, as you see. Youth are facing lack of resources, fear, ignorance, and a lot of. But what I would like to highlight is, first of all, speaking about the confidence. I think sometimes youth lack motivation, and sometimes they're not confident. But please, youth, be brave, be confident. We are the next generation, as I said during the session. But then also another challenge is in unemployment. So youth need opportunities. Please give us the opportunities. It can be internship or, I don't know, fellowship, and another, I will speak about that in the actions. And one of the challenges that was never mentioned here, I think, is language barriers that youth may face as well. From my experience, I know, for instance, CropWatch platform is available in several languages, which is great. And I think all the content should be available in not only in English, but in several languages. And also, yeah, and speaking about actions, long list. Yeah, thank you. A lot of actions. It was already mentioned about capacity development, capacity building many times. And I think for the youth especially, it is very important, to build their skills and competences. So next one is building the network. It opens up the road to, let's say, to the career, and also give them a lot of opportunities. And as speaking about opportunities, also I want to mention about the microgrants, being a mentor for them, and many others. About the suggestion for the geoinfrastructure, I believe that youth can come up with the brilliant, innovative, ideas in the solving the geoinfrastructure problem. So please do involve the youth. Thank you.
Yes, and we continue with open knowledge and national Jews. I think in my introduction, I said something around green grass. The grass is not green everywhere, and therefore we need to spread the green grass everywhere. So basically, we talked about various components of open knowledge and national Jews, and some of the challenges that we identified, which have been spoken about, include access to data and tools. And so we see that many national Jews face challenges of access to data, EO data and tools that are essential for decision-making and policy integration. In terms of collaboration and trust, establishing trust and collaboration between diverse stakeholders at the national level within National Geo framework remains a hurdle. And so lack of strong coordination can limit the ability to support EO strategies effectively. In terms of infrastructure and policy integration, we see that many national Geos struggle with influencing the integration of EO data into existing national policies due to varying technical capacities and infrastructure limitations. Now, most of these national Geos may be from emerging countries where they are trying to set up space agencies and we had examples from countries such as Ghana and South Africa. In terms of action, we're looking at the solution of the Geo-Knowledge Hub in terms of producing, providing EU tools, applications, and services to support capacity of national geos. And so through the Knowledge Hub, there are webinars, training sessions, and workshops that national geos can access in order to develop their technical capacities and help countries in the use of EU data, tools, and services. National geos indeed can leverage the tools such as data management plan, which my friend Lionel talked about, and also the EU maturity indicator methodology, which our friend Lev talked about, to help improve their EU capabilities and also to understand the landscape within their country. National geos can also foster collaborations across the regions where they are, and also leverage a platform such as the Geo-Knowledge Hub to enhance partnerships and share success stories. In terms of suggestions for the geo infrastructure, we're looking at active contribution to the Geo-Knowledge Hub. There are data in there, but the more we put in, the better. And so we are asking national geos not only to access resources in the Knowledge Hub, but also to contribute actively through their own national programs into the Knowledge Hub. In terms of access to EU data and tools in the Knowledge Hub, we're looking at how we're encouraging national geos to really access these tools in order to enhance their decision-making and also aligning with their national priorities. We are also keen in terms of investment in infrastructure. And so we're saying that investment in technical infrastructure and development of national framework for EU data management will enable better integration into policy-making processes and enhance the overall impact of our EU effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So for the Indigenous Knowledge session, which was, again, the first time we had an Indigenous-led session at the ODOC workshop, the Indigenous speakers, they presented quite a number of challenges. They are really at the forefront of climate change, yet lack internet connection. They lack access to critical Earth observation data. There is pretty much very limited funding for indigenous-led Earth observation projects. And the actions that were presented during the talk were to provide tailored capacity building for communities, to fund indigenous-led projects, to involve indigenous youth, and we were very proud and honored to have Mohamed Omar, who is, as one of the panelists, who is only 22 years old, and to foster collaboration with the GEO community. So as suggestions, we need to really facilitate the participation of the GEO Indigenous Alliance in the GEO work program. Includes the GEO Indigenous Alliance as well in the GEO governance, and facilitate mechanisms for funding for indigenous-led projects to ensure that Earth observation leaves no one behind. Thank you.
So agriculture and food security, we have very good contribution from the speakers. So it's very difficult to summarize all the input just in one slide. We managed to do that. So for the challenges, the first is actionable information and knowledge for impacts. So it's a time for this area to use the data and the knowledge to really change the world. So that's the right time we can do it. And the second one is the interoperability of data and knowledge, including the apps. So this, for food security, really cover a lot of sub-disciplines. So how we can make the first goal happen, we really should enable the interoperability of the different models that make it different. And the sustainability of the service of ODOC. So we need a long-term the function of service of the open data and open knowledge, and wide adoption of open data, open knowledge in agriculture and food security sector. So we need to do more work. Then for actions, so we need to transform from data-centric to impact-oriented. So we now talk about data. So we should talk about what really we want to do down to the earth. And certainly we should enhance data sharing and the data management principle. That's, I think that's one of the major achievements of data working group. And also we probably, this can apply in a lot of work in the agriculture and food security sector. And we need some guidelines to facilitate open knowledge interoperability in this field. And we talked about the private-public partnership to make this actionable information impactful result in the field. So this public-private partnership is needed. We should work on that. And a lot of people talk about capacity, but here we use a different term. We use capacity development because we already built the capacity in a lot of regions. So we need to furthermore an outreach. And also this semantic area synergy in a pilot region. So the audience gave us very good hint. For example, the green Great Wall region in Africa. Maybe we not only for agriculture, but also for other areas. We can work together to really make a big change. For the suggestions, we just quite straightforward. So we focus on services, so we can work together with service providers. And also, we should show example with good use cases. And people can learn very easily by example. So that's something I think that the Geo Knowledge Hub can do. And the last one, for the hackathons, I found some people already done that. I think this for the geo infrastructure, we can strengthen this part and make either the results available there, and also to invite some infrastructure to enable. We use the platform very easily. Okay, I stop here.
So Amos is not here, so I will do, and the challenges are again that we should use connections between the existing knowledge hubs, that AI requires training good data that can, and this can stay a challenge. We have seen it joins the in situ. The data preparation still represents the most consuming component of the workflow. This is the case for all data studies, but AI does not improve that itself at the moment. The Indigenous Alliance has very specific issues that we have to address also as far as we can, with internet connectivity, the lack of funding for indigenous, the limited or lack of relevant government services, and indigenous knowledge that is not taken seriously in the projects. Then a big challenge is that there is no plan B. We have to take care of our land and water. And there is a need to optimize the water use for agriculture. In the actions, out of what is available, and the connection with the existing knowledge hubs, the FAO Vapor is already part of the knowledge hub. And it connects not only the knowledge, but we also have to connect the communities who have the knowledge to be able to connect at the level of the education. And then consider the mobile applications to interact with the indigenous communities. And I should have asked here and the geo package, or I put it in the actions, okay. And then the geo LDN suggests to reconsider the way we consider the land use, and this is an action to see if we can push that. Remote sensing and AI developments to help water use optimization globally. The suggestion for the infrastructure, we have to follow up opportunities of collaboration with UNCCD, identify the highest priority to gather and share needed knowledge in collaboration with GeoGlam, to make OGC package resource be discoverable from the Knowledge Hub, I take this one, and keep measuring and monitoring the evolution and the progress, also to build the trust and keep on the fundings also, I think it's important.
Thank you. The session on weather and disasters resilience. I was very happy with the presentations and the panel discussions. I think there were great ideas, and I hope the presentations will be published on the GEO website soon so that we can have another look. Here I see. And there were a number of, these are not the ones that I wrote down. Well, anyway. So there were different things mentioned, and what I saw from the challenges was that it was not related so much to the how and the what we are going to do, but more to the impact. Some points that are here are data sovereignty of data, flood in situ data, setting up monitoring system cost and maintenance, the digital access, that it is not equal between for different parts of the world, and also for different people. The subject of living data, having other conceptions of data was discussed, the need to have not only pass the messages on, but also have the adequate methods to do that. The accessibility of data was discussed as a challenge, and the limited capacity for data comprehension. So there comes the capacity development again that was mentioned earlier. Weak data infrastructure and collaboration mechanisms that should be strengthened. And as an action is that several presentations discussed AI in different forms to applicate that. Virtual satellites constellations was mentioned again, giving more emphasis to capacity building. Having the importance of sensors that are very cheap, easily replaceable, and come up with efficient networks around that. Working with the local populations, that the population is not only seen as an end beneficiary, but active in the process and where possible in the lead. So communication, very closely linked to that investment in the infrastructure is needed. Collaboration across knowledge system and making sure that no one is left behind. Importance of the collaboration mechanism, so that was a challenge that we have to take up in an action point, ensuring and accounting for the data diversity that goes back to the different ways of looking at data, and also the incorporation of indigenous knowledge, integrating mobile data in disaster management, that was also earlier discussed, finding the best mechanism to reach the target group, public-private academia, collaboration between these partners to come up with the best solutions. And then as suggestions for the geo infrastructure was that data democracy was seen as something very important. And another issue was what was mentioned in the presentations was that storytelling, for example, in the Geo-Knowledge Hub could be very, very relevant. And one closing remark, something that we did not discuss, but I think is very important to realize when we talk about open data and open knowledge, the sheer presence of GEOS is already a catalyst to start this discussion. For me personally, that is a very, very strong and positive point. Thank you.
Yes. So I will step in for Julian here. He's left. I was a rapporteur, so it should be fine. The ecosystem biodiversity or carbon management. It was discussed the linkages between them and the challenges we had to monitor all of these. Capacity building again was mentioned, of course. Well, yeah, I jumped quite quickly over the many global, national, and local needs for the geospatial data and capacity for ecosystems, biodiversity, and carbon together. Capacity building again, both on local, national, and global scale, on all of the three areas. And in several countries, there were low capacities to mapping the ecosystems. It was some of the actions to promote inclusive capacity development approaches and including the indigenous people, women, youth, and across different geographies, and develop methodologies for mapping ecosystem, which accompanying capacity development. I thought it was interesting, this is my extra note, it was interesting that there are certain specific areas that are less present and monitored. And for instance, Southeast Asia, which was highlighted to be an area that really we need to integrate in our family and to address that. So there was a real data gap that was identified. I think this is something we should really make note of. So suggestions for the geo infrastructure, there would be a focus on mapping ecosystems in support of the global biodiversity framework, improve the inclusiveness of geo to ensure representation from indigenous people, women, youth, and geographies. And I also would like to add here that the consequences of biodiversity, a lack of biodiversity, and the consequences of climate change, for us, it's not only like an abstract concept. For some of us, the indigenous people, is actually the livelihood itself. I think that was an important point that we should highlight. We should replicate impactful geo flagships such as GFUI and geo land degradation neutrality to other thematic areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So coming to the climate, energy, urbanization, we tried to keep the notes at the main take-home message level. So with respect to the challenges, of course, the urban scale calls for downscaling and high-resolution simulation of processes. But we also discussed that for Earth intelligence and early warning for all, we really need the global coverage. So we actually need to bridge the two scales. That cities really call for a dynamic portfolio, and for this, it also there's need for capacity and resources. And another challenge discussed has been how to link all those EO data and other data available with socioeconomic data at the city scale. With respect to actions, hackathons and design workshops are needed to explore common ideas and needs between the different stakeholders. And GEO can really be the interface in two aspects. First, between, at the technical level, between city GIS experts and EO infrastructure experts to see the connections and make the systems interoperable. And then also to interface between city practitioners, both at the policy and the engineer level, with EO data services providers. and support development of urban capacities in general. Suggestions for the geo-infrastructure in particular, co-design early on, also on technical aspects, not only at the political level, make sure that global data sets can inform local applications on one hand, and then on the other hand, local data to support and validate global design. And lastly, leverage artificial intelligence to create a plain language between the urbanites, the citizens, and the city brains, the city behind the cities.
Okay, the last one, One Health. So this is a new group, a new area. So there are a lot of challenges. First one, we should think of the box because there are virtually at least three aspects: public health, animal health, and ecosystem health. So how can the model and the knowledge in price subsector can be transplanted and reused in this is a problem? This is a question. So we should need more collaboration. So collaborative design driven by human-centered design and the health side, importance of human-centered design. And certainly we share a lot of use cases. For example, the mosquito-borne diseases, a global problem. So we need a lot of interoperability with multi-types of data, not only Earth position, but also static and other data. And also indigenous women education need to be trained and resource required, very specific one. And certainly our panel members also mentioned of the operation difficulties and also the public-private sector partnership and also lack of capacity. Then some actions, because time is short for us to really put all the summary in this slide. So these actions like health side, importance of data interoperability and data quality, capacity development, and social licensing and data validated by people, data governance, and also the importance of the indigenous people on daily health and location, so on. And also certainly for capacity building for these EWS activities, we certainly will continue work on that, but in larger scope. And also our colleagues mentioned the playbook and also this interdisciplinary data products make their interoperable, available to this One Health community. And then for the suggestions for geo-infrastructure, so need to take measures upon scenarios based on the vectors and empower women in indigenous community and involve animal health and environmental health work and experts in this field, and also certainly for this open data and open knowledge in this geo knowledge hub. Okay, I stop here. I think we still have opportunity to improve this before our official publication. Thank you.
Thank you to all moderators. It was a challenge to make a synthesis and to present. Thank you for the rapporteur. Thank you to the timekeepers. Of course, as you have said something, we will have to curate again what is here before making the formal publication of the result of the workshop. We will also have to curate the suggestion of action to make a synthesis through all the sessions and see what we can follow up based on the resources we have, because we do, depending on how many volunteers we are in the different working groups. If you want to join the data and knowledge working group that will follow most of these actions, you are very welcome. We also look always for more diversity. We are a little bit more European, by the way, in this group. So very welcome to all, but if you are out of Europe, even more maybe. And that's it. And also we will have to curate for the GIDTT modernization activities also. Thank you very much. Then, before you will get your coffee. Thank you very much to have stayed. Before that, I would like to thank very much again our Chinese host and to invite Yuki maybe to say if one word to because we want to thank the host for the quality of the venue, the quality of the welcome, all the coffee breaks, everything you have organized, the technology. We know it's not easy to find volunteers, and we are very happy with all that. Last year, you have closed the 2023 ODOC and invited us here. We are doing it. It's done. It was successful, I think. We have a lot of food to digest here. So thank you very much, Yuki.
Well, I would like to say I'm only part of the great team of the whole organizing. So I'm really grateful to everyone coming all the way along to Hangzhou to participate in this great ODOC 2024 workshop. During the last 2 days, we really enjoyed very intensive discussions, dialogues, and we really enjoyed the input and output from all the other partners and GEO family members. So how time flies. So at the moment, I really would like to say, as a very interesting Chinese verb says, a very clever housewife cannot do anything without rice. So I would like to say, although the Earth intelligence is a very appealing dream, but this dream can never be realized without solid data and knowledge. So for all of us who are working behind the scenes to make data and knowledge available for the whole GEO families, we will play a very important and fundamental role. So therefore, let's working together. And I wish you all have enjoy your stay in Hangzhou. And let's have this memory, keep this good memory, and working together to jointly to have this great dream hopefully come true in the next 10 years. So instead of saying something at the end, I really would like to say thank you, Paula, Philip, and all the GEO Secretary team, because those, you are heroes working behind the scenes for well organization, all the sessions and the moderators working behind to support us, to working. So this is really a very fantastic group and a fantastic secretary team. So I would like to invite Paula to close this 2024 working group, because you and Philip are the initialization, who working behind the scenes to initialize it. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Well, I really would like to thank all of you, because there is nothing you can do alone, right? A baby, you do it at least in two. And the Data and Knowledge Working Group team is a fantastic, concrete thinker of how to address all the issues that we hear, all the problems on the focus areas, on the different elements, and try to find solutions where solution-based, and the work we advance, the work, how we engage over the entire year, over the months, and multiple calls every month, and we know each other, we rely on each other, and this is an amazing strength that GEO should tap, and we are this mindset of a service to the community. And this is what makes the strength of GEO is the community. We should not be here if the community was not here. And so I feel proud to be coordinating and supporting the work at the best of the possibilities, but in the last few years, this was not going to be possible without all your support and with the outstanding support of Felipe and Kalamkas, who are behind in an extremely dedicated and committed, enthusiastic way. So the thank goes to you all. In fact, we are not many still in the room, but the impact we wish to have and already what we have accomplished so far, I think we should be all very, very proud. Our list to digest is very long. We have a lot of new work in front of us, and we're still excited. Despite the tiredness, we are super excited. So thank you all. Really grateful for your inputs, for all the speakers. Were just amazing, for the audience to engage with questions. And the time is terrible. It just goes fast every second, and we fight against the time. But the input we got from you were essential to move us forward. So thank you very much. Thank you all. Picture.